Hello, I'm an Australian, and an idiot, and kind of a Doctor Who fan. I started with New Who in 2005 when I was 14, and my obsession only grew when I discovered the classic show, and now I'm really into Big Finish. I've been a fan of this franchise for about as long as I've had pubes, and over the last couple of years, I'm actually starting to prefer Big Finish to the TV show. Not a slight on Jodie or anything, I think she's fantastic as the Doctor, and the less said about the writing the better. Leave her alone, you animals. When she's given good material to work with, she's pretty damn good. Too bad there's not much of that. Big Finish audios are just wonderful escapism for me. No matter where I am, I can just put my headphones on and lose myself in a different world and story. It's what mostly got me through 2020. You can also do things in audio that you just can't in the TV show. You can have entire episodes set in complete darkness, or in a universe far too different for our senses to comprehend. Cosmic horror can be heightened by the fear of that which remains unseen. And that's another thing. Since they cater mostly to an adult audience of neckbeards like myself, Big Finish can go dark. And they frequently do. And they can do things that wouldn't get past the ratings board at the BBC. You can do high-concept sci-fi with massive environments and non-humanoid alien races that frequently show up in the episode, and non-humanoid companions without worrying about silly little things like special effects budgets and that sort of stuff. You can have the Sixth Doctor travel with a talking, shape-shifting penguin private eye named Frobisher, and you can have the Eighth Doctor have a story with a sentient jellyfish named Judy. Truly, the only limit is your imagination. Being a massive fan of theirs, one thing I love doing is trying to get other Who fans into Big Finish. And so far, I'm having very little success, and I can understand why. It's scary. Big Finish is a monolith of a thing, with a back catalogue that includes thousands of stories with numerous series and spin-offs, and not all of it is even Doctor Who, so it can be hard to know where to start. I also recognise it's just not for everyone. It can be difficult to switch from a visual to a non-visual medium, and some people just can't visualise the way other people can. It takes imagination and attention span that a lot of people simply don't have. A lot of their output is also very expensive. I mean, look at the price on this box set. $70-doos, that's 70 kangaroo bucks for just a few stories. You could get a case of Foster's for that and have enough left over for a cheeky Macca's run. There are entry points though, cheaper ways of getting them than just from the site, and ways to get into it and train your imagination to compensate for the lack of visuals. And when you do, you can experience some of the greatest stories that this franchise has to offer. The Eighth Doctor only exists in Big Finish, that and the novels, but nobody talks about them. Well, he did do that TV movie in the 90s, but we don't talk about that. I want to be your introduction to the audio world of Doctor Who. This is the first video in a series where I review some of the best of Big Finish's output. And when I say best, I mean the ones that I own or can access easily or cheaply. I mean, I'm a stingy bastard. Also, I want to prove how easy it is to get into this stuff. I'm going to tell you what Big Finish is, why you should care, and where the best places to start. And if I have time, I'm going to tell you how to maximize your listening experience. And I'm going to show you how to do it on the cheap. It's an entire world of Doctor Who canon that most Whovians don't even know exists. And if you're savvy enough, you can access it without spending a cent more than what you're already paying. Part 1. What is Big Finish? Let me take you back to 1989, a time when men were men, women were women, trans and non-binary people were valid, but not treated very nicely. Doctor Who had been on our screens for the better part of 3 decades, but the BBC were gunning for it. They have been trying to cancel the show for a while now, and succeeded with the Sixth Doctor, and after the trial of the Time Lord, it looks like the end for Doctor Who. But fan pressure forced them to bring it back, giving us the 7th Doctor. It was actually getting good again. It could have been the beginning of a new golden age of 90s Doctor Who, but unfortunately in 1989, after 26 seasons, they cancelled it, with no chance of regeneration. This was the beginning of a very dark time for the fandom, a 15-year period that came to be known as the Wilderness Years. In these dark days, I was born, along with a bunch of startups and fan organisations, creating Doctor Who-related content for fun and profit, and keeping the flame alive. The fandom never went anywhere, you see. They were just forced underground, subsisting on a diet of fan-made films, audio dramas, and the new adventure novels. Big Finish Productions is a British audio production house that produces audiobooks and audio plays, sold on CD or direct download. They started off making audio play adaptations of the new adventure novels, specifically Bernie Summerfield. She's a space archaeologist who can travel in time and exists within the Doctor Who universe. If she sounds similar, she should. She's the inspiration for River's song. Unlike River, however, she doesn't have anything for the Doctor. She's not infatuated with him in any way. If it wasn't for that fact, I would call this plagiarism. Big Finish produced the most consistently good Doctor Who, and the variety is just mind-boggling. They have the continuing adventures of the first 11th Doctors, and they've recently started doing stuff for the 12th. They also do the War Doctor. They use the original actors where they can, and where they can't, they use sound-alikes. It's projects like this that kept Doctor Who going through the dark times, and kept people talking about it and wanting more. I'm not going to say that Big Finish are the reason that New Who even exists, because I honestly don't know that. But with two showrunners being long-term fans, it's certainly a contributing factor. Big Finish are also the most consistently good at doing Doctor Who. I can't name a really bad episode out of them. I mean, I can name 10 off the top of my head, just from New Who alone. As mentioned earlier, the Big Finish back catalogue is fucking massive, so it can be a little bit difficult to understand where to start. There are entry points, but just for the fun of it, I'm just going to rattle off all the content that they have available here, just to give you an idea of just how mind-bogglingly massive this is. They have the continuing adventures of the first 11 Doctors, including the War Doctor, using original actors where they can, but sound-alikes where they can't. They've got the monthly plays, the Companion Chronicles, they've got short trips, and who can forget all the box sets? Oh my god, the box sets! You like spin-offs? We got your spin-offs! More spin-offs than you can shake a stick at. They got Bernie Summerfield, Dalek Empire, Sarah Jane Smith, Gallifrey, Unit, Cyberman, Iris Wildtime, I Davros, Jago and Lightfoot from that racist episode, Talons of Wang Chiang. Watch it, it's really good. Graceless, Countermeasures, Vienna, Charlotte, Pollard. Yay! The New Adventures of Bernie Summerfield, Torchwood, Unit, the New Earth series, The Diary of River Song, that's actually pretty damn good. The Churchill Years, the New Countermeasures, I don't know what that is. The Lives of Captain Jack, The War Master, Tales of New Earth, Unit, the new series, Jenny, the Doctor's daughter. Yay! Class, yes, somebody actually wanted to continue that thing. Lady Christina, what the fuck? Missy, the Paternoster Gang, Rose Tyler, the Dimension Cannon, Robots, Don't and I Were Kidnapped, Susan's War, Master, and the Lone Fucking Centurion. Oh, that was really tiring. I think I need a VB. The resulting catalogue of content is currently larger than your mum, surpassing the new series and the old series with sheer amount of content. But so much of it is so good. It answers questions that you didn't even know that you wanted answered. Want to know what happened in the Time War era? Here's 10 box sets to start you off, with more coming. Want to know what 8 got up to before the Time War? Getting amnesia. I'm not even sure why, it's just kind of a thing that happened. There's just so many examples of Big Finish doing stuff that you really wish the show did years ago. They had the 8th Doctor finally go back to visit Susan after he promised her he would 8 lifetimes ago. The 5th Doctor confronts the death of Adric. They finally get 6 out of that glorious coat that unfashionable people hate for some reason. There's a war with Morbius, a giant millipede private eye named Roscoe, a whole adventure where the Doctor fights the monsters of Lovecraft's mythos, while the man himself consistently misgenders someone who's trying to save him and the entire world, and saying racial slurs while he sulks in the corner. A story that explains what happened to Perry after Mind Warp, and so much more. So, where the hell do you start with this stuff, you idiot? Well, it can cost a few kangaroos, and some people have kids to feed, but that's easy. Big Finish is far more rewarding than children can ever be, and you could always make more. It's also not that pricey if you know where to look. See this image that I showed you earlier to demonstrate how expensive these things can get? You'll notice that there's 2 prices there. One of them, called Download, looks a lot more reasonable. Just get the download copy. I mean, not everyone is a freak like me who still collects CDs in the 2020s. Most of the stuff that I got from the site is download copies. And the older they are, the cheaper they are. Look at this one, $3. That's cheaper than a Foster's at the pub. For less than a Foster's a day, you can listen to Big Finish like a money-conscious king. And the best part is they have the app. I use this while walking. It's brilliant. And what if you are one of those CD-liking freaks? If you live in the UK, I'm pretty sure they pave the streets with these things. You can find them in your nearest charity shop. Not the case here. I live on this sandy, spider and snake-infested chevron at the bottom of the world with the population of Kent. Most things don't get released here, it's just not economically feasible. We didn't even get mini-disc, which is something that I am very mad about. Before MP3 players, I had to try pocketing this thing. I ended up going back to the Walkman half the time. I mean, at least I can fit that in my pocket. Here, if you want to get something, you gotta send out for it, and that costs money. If you're buying CDs on the site, half the price is going to go to shipping. And thanks to COVID, it takes ages to get here. Even before then, I'm pretty sure it took like 2 weeks. They give you a download copy, but it's just not the same. I mean, you don't get to put it in the play, you don't get to do this, that, and the other, you don't get to sync it to your computer and all that stuff. So lately I've been getting my Big Finish fix from Amazon. Some of these were only $15. They arrive in one piece, may or may not be bootleg, I don't know, and I haven't decided if I care about that yet. And the violation of workers' rights is but a small price to pay. But I told you can get these things for free, didn't I? Don't worry, mate, I've got a solution for you. Just boot up the old personal computer and head on to Pirate Bay and... Yeah, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. Settle down, I'm just beginning. Shut it! Okay. Obviously, I don't want you to pirate them. Big Finish are an independent company, and they're also a very small company. They pay the obscene price to the BBC to use the Doctor Who intellectual property license, while paying for actors, sound engineers, and all the kit that they need to set up home studios for the classic Doctors, so they can record in quarantine. You really think that Tom Baker even knows how to plug in his own mic? My apologies to Tom Baker, you lovely, lovely man. They are also very talented and lovely people who deserve every cent of your money in exchange for stories. All of that considered, here's how you get them for free. If you have a Spotify or Audible subscription, you already have access to a massive chunk of their back catalogue. That includes the early monthly plays for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th Doctors, all the classics from that era. They even have the first couple seasons of the 8th Doctor adventures, with companion Lucy Bleeding Miller. Want the new show? You got that too. On Audible, you can even get 10th Doctor adventures for monthly credit. Most of the stories that I'm going to be covering in this series are going to be available on these platforms. If you have these subscriptions, you literally have no excuse. There is no entry fee. So where do I start, idiot? All of this library to select from, how could you possibly know where to start?
Let's see, pick one.
It really is that simple. Pick a Doctor, pick a companion, and start from their first episode. For the 6th Doctor, a good place to start would be the lovely Evelyn Smythe. Her first episode is The Marian Conspiracy. For 8, you can jump on with Charlotte Pollard in Storm Warning, or Lucy Miller in Blood of the Daleks. All of these are available on Spotify. If not, you can just pick one you like the look of. That's the great thing about Doctor Who. They're mostly self-contained stories, so you can really jump on at any point. My recommendations though are as follows, and these will have reviews. Jubilee, an early 6th Doctor story with companion Evelyn Smythe, written by Rob Shearman. This was the inspiration for the first season episode Dalek, and written by the same guy. Spare Parts, a 5th Doctor story with Nyssa, where they land on Mondas just as the Cybermen are being conceived, and wind up getting involved in events. Think Genesis of the Cybermen and Death in Heaven. Storm Warning, the first 8th Doctor play with companion Charlotte Pollard, Charlie to her friends, an Edwardian adventuress on the airship 101, or Blood of the Daleks. 8 again, with Lucy Bleeding Miller. This is the one that the most recent Doctor Who special was ripping off. Maximizing your listening experience. Yeah, for headphones, any old pair you have laying around will do, but it stands to reason the better set of cans, the better it will sound. Their sound engineering is top notch, so if you're already an audiophile, you can get a lot out of this, and listen to it in style. But me, I started with a set of Dirty Buds that came with my iPhone, and when they broke, I used service station headphones from BP. These days, I've leveled up, got myself some budget openbacks. Absolute best way to listen to anything. The instrument separation just makes every little part of the audio shine. They bleed like crazy, but they have to, because that's how they produce that open and wide soundstage. But I'm also not a headphone reviewer. I'll be leaving a link to an actual headphone reviewer called Dankpods. Absolute legend. He's a musician, a critical listener, and he's very accessible. He can help you get into the world of audiophilia. He's also Australian, so you might know some similarities. As for dealing with the lack of visuals, the cover art is fantastic. It's designed to give you a sense of what everything is supposed to look like. Most of it, that is. For everything else, the internet provides. Go to Google and search for fan art. A lot of talented people have devoted their time to drawing art for these things. Not sure what a character looks like? Hit up DeviantArt. And if you like the artist, throw them a couple of bucks. Show your appreciation. A lot of these plays have also been adapted into comics, which you can find online. And there's a lot of 3D artists on YouTube doing scenes from some of the audios. If it's classic Doctors you're struggling with, then you can check out some of their episodes in the Classic Show. In Australia, a BritBox subscription will set you back $8 a month, and you can get into the Classic Show while you're getting into the audios. There's lots of options, you just have to find them. But after a while, you won't need the visuals. Just let your mind wander and immerse yourself into the story, and it's like a movie playing out in your head. And that's about it. Get into it. Big Finish can be daunting, but it really is worth a look. Next episode, I'll be reviewing some Big Finish, starting with the 6th Doctor story Jubilee. I'll be doing a new review every so often, so keep checking the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell. I'm new to this YouTube thing, and I'm a bit of an idiot! Any constructive criticism would be a great help. Also, normal criticism. Also, if I accidentally use some of your fan art, yeah, just let me know. I'll take it down.